Okay, so we have another video rolling in for Black Clover Mobile. I hope you are enjoying the videos on the, well, maybe one of the most sad updates we could say, but at least I'm pumping videos out. So once again, before we get into the video, what I do want to say is that please make posts and feedback suggestions, okay? Upvote all the posts, complain on the socials, and send in customer service reports. Besides that, what you should do the most is complain in the survey. Now, I made a compiled list of why exactly the anniversary is bad, okay? And this isn't even covering everything, so I want to make that very clear. So this is what we are going to talk about, because before we get into Lumiere, right? Because Lumiere is not bugged, but people think he's bugged, and I'll explain the problem with Lumiere, and that's really coming down to wording. But before we get into that, one last time, okay? Not one last time, I'm probably going to continue. Number one, though, pulls. We went from the same events bringing 100 to 55 pulls. That might be like, oh, First Annie has other things, like the invite event. So did Half Annie. So what's up with that? Then the free SP dupe basically just took out the Unity skill page dupe you would have gotten from the main event, because Half Annie also gave us SP dupe in the main event. What's up with that? Raid rewards are worthless. We don't need to talk about it. I've already talked about it. Now, it seems like they false promoted technically and counted story and frame challenge, probably the new code 2 in the 100 pulls. Half Annie just had that shit already. Story wasn't counted, code wasn't counted. It was just there, and it wasn't counted in 100. Then tower expansion rewards are pathetic for it taking probably 4 to 7 hours. 4 to 7 hours and you get nothing. You get this less rewards than you did for 150 to 200. Then frame challenge rewards were worse than JP. This is a small gripe, but still something. No packs, which sucks for them. I'm still trying. I want the game to succeed. And them releasing no packs is stupid. And then the new player banner that we already talked about is kind of worthless, because you need all those units max dupe, which they don't give it to you max dupe. And finally, 999 somehow has something bad about it, because 999 is great. But guess what? They took out the mage selector from main event that we've had for 3 seasons now. 3 seasons. They took it out and they put it here, basically. Now there's some pickups here, sure, but shouldn't we have also gotten a mage dupe? A mage selector in the main event? So I just don't get that part, right? So yeah, please do the surveys, complain, because everything I said is true. Okay, it's true. You can't. People were trying to defend the fact that they nerfed rewards from Half Annie. Guys, I want the game to succeed. This isn't the way for it to succeed. They have to give pulls and make it so people want to come back. Who the fuck wants to come back to this? Every new game mode sucks in rewards besides frame challenge. Frame challenge is fine. But because the other 2 things that they added, tower expansion and also raid, were sullied because of the rewards, well, everything's going to start looking worse, right? Because those are bad, everything has to look better, essentially, is how it is. But it's not. Everything else also sucks. So that's great. Now, let's talk about Lumiere and the 2 main things for why people think he's bad. Okay, number 1. I apologize for this. I think it was my fault, but I really read this as if you could get multiple crits depending on how many barriers. It is a one-time barrier, right? You get 12 crits on 1 attack, 12 ticks, I should say. You get 1 barrier, right? So it's basically if you land a skill, get a barrier. That's basically if you land a crit, then get a barrier. I read it wrong. I apologize. It made me and others think that well, you could get like 10 barriers if there was like good AoEs, but we thought max 4, but even 4 would have been better than 1. So overall, his dupes are heavily reliant on Secre's max dupe. So even dupe 2, like you need Secre's max dupe to really make use of it. And then this, it's like, it's good, I guess, but I've still died to Fuego because Fuego's type advantage and does damage, bro. Oh my god, it's crazy. Now, what is there to say good about Lumiere? This AoE, I think I've wiped so many teams with it. The problem is I will not wipe mono green if there is a silent skill page. If they remove my Vanessa's silence and Charlotte gets her damage reduction off, then I will not get to kill, right? Mono green then wins, right? That's the one thing. Mono green is still an issue because of the barrier, which Secre does stop. So essentially, with Secre, Lumiere in normal arena is going to work basically the best DPS, all right? Right now, I'd still say he's the best. I would like to say that because he works against Fuego, works the best against Black Divider. It's so simple to work versus Black Divider. Works against Mono Blue, which people don't think it's a team, but people use it, right? Not many, because obviously you had to put so much investment for a team that isn't like necessarily the best, but it is a team. Now, the second problem is this. This is additive. Now, why did we think it was multiplicative? Because it has the same wording as this. Okay? It has the same wording, this. Where is it? Oh, this, sorry. The increases crit damage by 50%. Has the same wording as this, if I could find it. Here. Which is, well, sorry, my bad, this part. So increased crit res, right? So because it says increased crit res and this is plus, plus means you just get an additive, right? Siri, why you on? So plus is additive, but then because this said increased, and we all kind of assumed that like made sense that it was multiplicative. Then we're like, okay, well this also is multiplicative. Well, support responded back. I don't know what his name is, but support responded back. Was it Alan? Was it Alan? I think, no, I don't know his name. Anyway, something with an A, I think. And he said, nope, it's additive. So someone from Garena confirmed it is additive, which means if you're at 200% crit damage, this only brings it up to 250. So you having such a high amount of crit damage just doesn't matter for this regard, which means that going for a bit more magic attack is fine, which is the unfortunate part because like if it was, the reason why we thought it was multiplicative is first of all because it made sense, he's an anniversary unit, but this also explains why his damage is lower, because essentially he's losing out on up to like 75% crit damage from this, which is insane to think about. So with the barrier and the crit damage combined, that's why Lumiere does not meet expectations, because his damage is lower than we thought it would be essentially, right? So there's that. And also the barriers not stacking hurts him defensively. Now, a lot of these problems are fixed by Secre besides the stun block, and damage is going to look okay. It's just going to be a bit weird. We'll have to see. But the thing I see with Secre is because she's able to spam her ult in silence and then also give a bunch of barriers and damage reduction, Lumiere is going to be fine on the damage reduction aspect, okay? Because Secre is essentially giving Lumiere an extra 40 always, pretty much. Because every time it's Secre's turn, she gives a barrier. And every barrier gives Lumiere 10% damage reduction. And on her skill 2, it's a, what's it called? A 30% damage reduction. And then whenever Lumiere gets hit, that's another barrier, right? So she was made for Lumiere. The problem is in pick and ban. Because, like, most of the time, are you going to really get Secre and Lumiere together? Like, the way I see it is if you pick Secre first, the other team isn't going to pick Lumiere because then Lumiere is going to get countered, right? So, to me, I feel like if you get first pick of Secre, you're going to end up getting Lumiere in pick and ban. But we'll have to see for that. We'll have to see. But overall, I personally think Lumiere is very good. I'd say he's top 5 right now, but top 3 with Secre. I think right now he's S tier, but he does need Secre to go to that S plus tier in my opinion. But obviously we have to see. So that's what I said. Listen, all I know is I said you needed Secre max dupe to work with Lumiere, right? You needed them together to really work. I said that. All right, I said that. I wanted to make it very clear since the beginning. In my before you summon, I made it very clear. So, because of that, it does suck that an Annie unit is like this. I understand that. The worst part about it is because of everything else. I'm pulling out paint again. All right. So let's explain this. These were the expectations. So expectations, and then this was reality for anniversary. This was reality for anniversary, right? Everything was betrayed, right? So for Annie, there we go. So this was it, right? So now we cut it off. And then in terms of everything, right? People, because of this, needed all of this part to be made up by Lumiere, right? Lumi, right? People needed all of this, like all of this to be made up by Lumiere, right? Because of the fact that, well, Lumiere, like maybe this is 3 out of 10. I already explained this, but like because Annie was so disappointing, Lumiere needed to be that much more impressive. But listen, his purpose is not what people were expecting. Where maybe in terms of what they were expecting, he filled up to here, right? I personally, this is what I think. People are overblowing it, and like they're taking this little amount that he didn't fill up and making it this much, right? That's basically it. Like, it's this little portion of anger that's there because of this, right? This, like, gap between the expectations and reality, right? That, oh, I should put that. That basically, because The anniversary sucked more. Their feelings of anger towards Lumiere grew exponentially because the anniversary was way worse than anyone expected it to be, from the rewards to communication. Mainly rewards. The rewards is what really sucked, if we're being real. So, like, it's bad that because Lumiere didn't fully make up what everyone wanted in a unit, then this is what happened. People became angry, but no, he's not bugged. It's just that the way we read the multiplicative thing, it was something that we proved through the skill page. We're like, okay, it makes sense that it's multiplicative, and it was additive. Okay, this was something I went and I'm like, okay, it makes sense that it's multiplicative, and everyone said yes. So I'm like, okay, it should be multiplicative, but it's not, right? So that's the main thing. Now, do I think Lumiere's bad or bad any unit? No, and you know why? Because instead of destroying the meta, only making himself the only meta team, we could still use Fuego, okay? We could still use Mono Green somewhat until Secre. Well, Secre is going to make it a lot worse to use Mono Green, but it's still going to be there. Mono Red's about to come up. Okay, Black Divider is kind of gone. Black Divider's gone, though. Lumiere completely wipes Black Divider from what I've been seeing. Hell yeah. Which is amazing, by the way. I love to see it. Because the minute Lumiere attacks Black Divider with anything, Black Divider loses, right? So Black Divider can't really do shit against Lumiere from what I've seen. Right? And I tried him in RTA a bit. So, to me, Lumiere is the perfect anniversary unit. The problem is the anniversary is not perfect. That's my quote for the day. Lumiere's perfect and he isn't. Okay, that's essentially all this boils down to. And listen, I'm with you. You guys have seen me rant in so many videos. If you've seen on Twitter, I've had almost like fucking... they've been almost crash outs. Right? Like... Also, wait, the frame. I forgot to mention it. But yeah, please go vote for the frame. I'm going to probably mention it in another video because when does it end? Okay, it's pretty late. Okay, it's still the 30th. It's still the 30th. So, yeah, that's essentially it. I don't have much more to say. Just make sure you do the survey. Make sure you complain because we need to make our voices heard. And make sure that they make it known that they need to buff stuff heavily. But no, Lumiere is fine. It's just, number one, also what doesn't help is a lot of people don't have a crit damage or without crit rate build. Because everyone has crit rate in their pieces, but they don't need crit rate because he crits, right? If I had to change one thing in his kit, it's making Wizard's King Dignity be lasting 3 turns instead of 2. Because sometimes it does run out, and I hate it. When it runs out, he feels like he hits like a wet noodle. That's the only thing. It would be that. Literally make it 3 turns and I'm happy. That's it. With that said and done, I'm good. Okay, I'm done talking about Lumiere negativity because I genuinely like him until further notice. Okay, I genuinely like him. So that's essentially it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching this video. Have a good day. Bye-bye.